All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of What the Heck Do I Dance For? Today, my special guest is Elijah Van Gilder. Elijah, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. Um, Elijah, you and I met over the summer, Nashville Summer Intensive,
Over the
and I
summer in
just,
Nashville.
yeah, dude, I just have to say, I don't think I've met someone who just from a summer intensive who I still talk to and just have such a genuine
No,
friendship with still.
likewise. I don't think I've made as good of a friend just over 5 weeks at a summer as
Yeah.
Joseph. So yeah, I still keep in contact with Joseph regularly, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, like if I'm gonna be honest, I remember absolutely nothing like dance wise from the summer intensive.
no, me neither.
but
Me
but
neither.
I
It was
just I
a
just I just remember the
yeah, no,
really good times that we had.
it was great. It was great.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just get started. Where are you from?
So I'm originally from Virginia, born in Virginia and lived there for until I was 11. And then I moved to Texas, where I lived until I was 15. And then I moved to Salt Lake City, Utah, where I reside to this day.
All right, and what do you do in Salt Lake City?
I am currently at Ballet West as a PTD, part of the professional training division.
Nice. And so this is your third year there?
This is my, gosh, I started this is actually my fourth year.
Your fourth year, okay.
This is my fourth year at Ballet West.
But this is your third year as a PTD, right? Or
No, this is my fourth year as a PTD.
fourth year as a PTD.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I started PTD pretty young, pretty young.
Gotcha. Okay. Um, all right. How did you start dancing?
Well, let's see. This is a funny one. So my sister uh, was a serious ballet dancer ever since she was super tiny, like 3. And in Virginia, she was pretty serious about ballet, and she eventually convinced me. I think I was 5, and she eventually convinced me to start taking ballet classes. And I did ballet classes in Virginia at this small studio for, I honestly don't remember. I was so little. I think it was a year, maybe a year and a half. And I decided I hated it. I was like, this is the worst thing I've ever done. This is so boring. And I never want to do this again. I was doing drums at the times.
Oh.
I was in music.
Mm.
And I decided to just do that instead. 5, 6-year-old me did not like ballet at all. Fast forward a few years in Texas, I think I was 12, if my memory serves correct. And lo and behold, my sister again convinces me to start doing ballet. So I was like, you know what? Fine, a little bit of physical activity, keep me in shape. So I started doing a boys class once a week. And I was like, okay, a once a week kind of thing. And turns out it was not once a week. It was every day. And I joined an everyday class program. And I was like, this is a little excessive. So I did that for, gosh, I think 3 years. And then I sort of went to my first summer intensive and realized that I wanted to do this seriously. And yeah, been at it ever since.
Nice. What was school like for you? Did you go to public school at all?
I did not.
You
Well,
did
I
not?
did 1 year of public high school, which was my freshman year. But other than that, all my schooling was homeschool. So, yeah.
What made you decide to go to public school your freshman year of high school?
I didn't decide. My parents, for some reason, were just like, you should go to high school. So I did my first year of public school as a freshman in high school. And then after that year, I probably would have kept going, but then I moved to Salt Lake and became a PTD. And then I just kept doing homeschooling and finished out high school that way, sort of a combination of online and not. But I don't know. I think that 1 year of public high school was very valuable. So
Yeah,
maybe
that's
not
good.
academically, but a valuable experience.
Hmm. And then how did you get into the PTD program at Ballet West?
So I did my first summer audition season. I was 14. I decided I wanted to do a ballet summer intensive. And so I was in Texas, Central Texas, small little city called Lubbock, Texas. There's nothing there. It's just flat and dirt. But anyway, so, I take a road trip to Dallas and I do a few auditions. I auditioned for SAB and Ballet West and PNB and a whole bunch of other summer intensives. I ended up going to SAB that year as my first summer intensive, which is just a goofy first summer intensive. But on that audition tour, I auditioned for Ballet West, and I met Jeff Rogers, who is the director of the men's program here. And he saw skinny little 14-year-old me and was like, "Hey, you should come join the program." And I was like, "Okay." And so I did SAB instead. Yeah, great decision, I know. So I did SAB, and then I came back to my small studio in Texas for another year. And then fast forward a year, I do the same audition, and I decide to do 2 summer intensives that year. I did Ballet West for 2 or 3 weeks, and then I went to PNB. And while I was here for those first 3 weeks, Jeff Rogers offered me a spot I think I just turned 15, and he offered me a spot in the PTD program. And I said, yeah, why not? Let's move out to Salt Lake City. And yeah, I've been here ever since. So Jeff is the reason, as he continues to be.
Yeah, I'll ask you about Jeff Rogers later.
Yeah,
because you cannot talk about Ballet West without talking about Jeff Rogers.
No, an integral part of Ballet West.
Exactly.
The man, the myth, the legend.
How did your parents react to you, like being, "Hey, I want to move to Salt Lake City and dance"?
They were super supportive of it. They've been really supportive of it my whole life, which is great. Yeah, especially since my sister did it, and they spent a whole bunch of money on her going to summer intensives, and they were probably thinking, "Oh, great, another artist, not a doctor to support us in our old age." But they realized that if I wanted to do this seriously, I'd have to move and go somewhere with good training. Like not that the training in Texas was bad. It was just small studio, not super serious. There are some professional dancers from that studio. I'm not trashing on the studio in Texas. Ballet Lubbock was great. Loved it. But yeah, no, they realized that I needed to go somewhere with a serious program if I wanted to do this seriously. So.
Yeah, and they were so supportive. Your mom moved out with you for the first 3 years, right?
Yeah, she was. She doesn't like Texas, really. She didn't like the area that we lived, which is valid. It's a very boring place. But she also didn't want, 15-year-old me just living on my own, which is probably, I think that was for the best. I don't know I don't know where I'd be. I don't know if I'd be alive if I had just moved out here on my own at 15. Who knows what would have happened? I probably would have I don't know, forgot how to shop for food and starved to death or something. Who knows? But I'm, so she lived with me for the first few years. And my dad came back and forth.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But here I am now.
Yeah. How's living on your own then now?
It's good. It's been it's definitely been, it's been an experience. It has been an experience. It can be rough at times. Obviously, living here with my mom, she didn't do everything for me. I still had to, cook and clean and all that fun stuff. So it wasn't a total shock of just living on your own, but there's definitely some things you forget, bills and taxes and,
Right.
just living on your own in an apartment. There's just so much to do all the time. It's
Yeah.
constantly just cleaning. Just things get dirty if you don't. Oh, the worst, right?
Yeah. I think the hardest thing for me is just forgetting to like check up on my own self because when you're with your parents, they do that pretty frequently.
Right.
But
No, that is definitely a struggle and something I've sort of been figuring out as I go.
yeah. Um okay. Yeah, let's talk about being a PTD at Ballet West.
Yeah,
How has that been for you for the past 3.5 years?
it's been great, and I think especially for the guys, I really can't speak for being a PTD woman because I feel like a very different program. Because for a guy, the PTD men's program is Jeff Rogers. He is the man who runs it, and you have, well, not run. You know what? He's the main teacher,
Yeah.
and you have class with him pretty much every day. Sometimes not on Saturdays, but his training is pretty legendary, and it is fantastic. And all of the guys in the program that I've met and danced with over the years, they are there because of Jeff.
Mhm.
And all of the guys, I think, recognize how special Jeff is in the program. Jeff is something else.
Yeah. No, yeah, Jeff, I had him once at my home studio for
Mm-hmm.
a week for the summer, and that was crazy. It was really good to have him there. And then he staged Napoli on us the following year.
Just did that. I just did that.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just such a chill dude, but like such a good teacher.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's very demanding. I mean, obviously he's had an insane career, and he
Hmm.
trained at Stuttgart. I haven't memorized his training or career, so I don't feel qualified, giving Jeff's life story. But obviously he's had some insane training, and he was European trained, and
Right.
so the training you get from Jeff is training that you really, I mean, I hesitate to say it, but like you can't get it anywhere else in the US. Like he's pretty world renowned, and he knows
Hmm.
everybody. He is the connection to have. You can say any famous dancer's name and he has them on the phone. He knows everyone and he can get you connected to anyone. So being on Jeff's good side is something invaluable.
Oh yeah, I would
And his
imagine.
training, and his training is fantastic. It's very demanding. But obviously he's a really super nice guy. And the training is good. It's kind of European style, without like, the Stuttgart 80s stuff that he endured, where they beat you with sticks until your
Right.
tandu is perfect. But he's very demanding, and we do something that's not very common in the US, which is exams. We have
Right.
a set exam class, which is, again, not common in the US, and something pretty difficult and pretty cool. So I'm working on the fourth exam class I've done at Ballet West, and it is something else. You learn it at the beginning of the year. He sets an exam class. It's pretty similar every year, but obviously a little bit different. And you run that ballet class 2 or 3 times a week, and you perfect it, and you just drill it and drill it and drill it. And then you perform it at the end of the year in front of the artistic director, the artistic faculty. You also do it in front of donors, which is incredibly stressful because,
Yeah.
there's literally $900 million worth of people at the front of the room. It's like 10 people, they're, and, they're like, okay, guys, these guys are contemplating giving us money for dorms. So, no stress. It's only, a couple $1 million riding on this exam performance. So exams are something pretty pretty intense, but pretty special about the Ballet West men's program here.
Mm. Yeah. And then just name, like, you mentioned before you just did Napoli.
Mm-hmm.
What other pieces of rep have you been doing, or have you done in the past 3.5 years?
Oh gosh, of course now I forget them all. Let's see, we've done Raimonda, and we've done Capellia, Napoli, Corsair 2 years ago. Oftentimes for the PTDs, for the performance opportunities, they won't stick with like a full-length ballet. They'll just mash a bunch of stuff together, which sounds kind of funny, but it works, and they're always fun performances, and you always get to do a lot of cool rep. So
nice. As a PTD, how often, if at all, do you get to work with the company?
Not often.
Gotcha.
You get to do, like, the biggest thing is Nutcracker. Like, they always need guys for Nutcracker, but obviously you're not going to be doing anything too intense in the Nutcracker. All the dancey roles, that's for the company. It's a company performance. So you'd be doing things like Mouse, which is actually really fun because you're just in this big fat suit and you can barely see, and you're just running around on stage causing chaos. And then there's Butler. And if you're really short or young and a good dancer, they'll have you do Page, which actually does require dancing and is very stressful. It's in opening of Act 2. And yeah, I had to do that my first year here, and it was stressful because it's just like Adam Skloot, the artistic director, yelling at you to get in line, and it's like 15-year-old me in a costume. Yeah, stressful. But there's that, and then sometimes they'll need PTDs for other company performances, like they're doing Sleeping Beauty right now, and they used some of the taller guys for like guards, but you're really not going to be working with the company too much.
Gotcha.
The trainees get to work with the company a little bit more, and they'll sometimes have to cover stuff, but not the PTs.
Okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit on Jeff. I think a misconception I might have is Ballet West Bournonville, or is it more Jeff Rogers is Bournonville?
It is Jeff.
Okay.
He has done so much rep, and he's trained under so many amazing people and done so much Bournonville rep that he is kind of an expert on Bournonville in a way that no one else in the U.S. really is. And we said Napoli, and we did Napoli like a month ago, and yeah, no, like the other faculty, this isn't a jab at any other faculty, but when they were helping us with it, they'd go to the videos of different Napoli performances, and they'd be teaching us the choreography from there. Jeff just has pretty much the entire performance, all Bournonville rep, even the women's spots. He just has it memorized, and just put on the music, and it's like he just knows the counts from heart, and it's pretty nuts. So we were actually going to do, I think, Sleeping Beauty, which I guess the company's doing now. We were going to do that for the winter showcase. But then kind of last minute, not super last minute, but last minute they decided to do Napoli. But yeah, it was mainly Jeff setting the whole thing because he's the Bournonville guy. So yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, that was just a big misconception I had about Ballet West before I met you and Nick, who was a trainee at West last year. I just was like, Jeff Rogers, Bournonville, tall guys, that must be what Ballet West is pretty much.
Yeah, they do. Like the academy and the trainees seem to do a lot of Bournonville. But the company doesn't do like a notably excessive amount of Bournonville. The company has a lot of variety in the rep. But the Bournonville translates really well from Jeff's training. Like,
Oh yeah.
his training is very Bournonville. I mean, it's pure classical, is what it is.
Right.
His training isn't really one style of ballet; it is pure classical.
Yeah, for sure. Are there any other teachers that you have right now who you really enjoy taking class from?
Yeah, sure. There is the there's the academy director, Evelyn Legate, Evelyn Cincinnatus Legate, who is she took over that role from Peter Mers in 2020, I believe. So she is a great class, and she teaches us occasionally. She doesn't teach the men a lot.
Mm.
And then also her husband, Stephen Legate, is on the faculty, and he teaches us. So they're great. They were, I want to say they were both principal dancers at, don't quote me on this, I think they were both principal dancers at San Francisco Ballet for like 15 years.
Ooh,
Both of them. Yeah.
nice.
So, yeah. Also, I should mention Jeff Rogers was a principal at Ballet West for a ridiculously long
Yeah.
period of time. So, yeah. And then there's also Jim Payne, who you interviewed his daughter, which I didn't even make the connection. Then I watched the interview and I was like, wait a minute. But he's fantastic. He's the new trainee director, and so we get class from him occasionally, and he's a great teacher. He took over the job from Chris Sellers, who took over his parents' school in Huntington Beach, California, but he was the previous trainee director, and he was also great.
Nice. Okay, next question. Do you prefer turns or jumps?
I'm gonna go with jumps. Over the last year, I've become more of a jumper, and yeah, no, you know me, I'm not a turner.
No.
I wasn't born with that internal gyroscope like some people have. I can't just, whip out 6 turns just like anything like a certain Joseph Dang can in class. But no, definitely more of a jumper.
Yeah, and would you credit that a lot to Mr. Jeff Rogers?
I credit everything to Jeff Rogers. I credit everything to Jeff Rogers. Yes.
Nice. Do you have like a favorite jump that you like to do?
I'm a Petit Allegro kind of guy.
Yeah?
Which I don't know. That may get a lot of kickback. I feel like a lot of guys don't like Petit Allegros, but I love my fast little goofy Bournonville Petit Allegros. Medium Allegros too.
No.
Honestly, any Allegro.
Yeah.
I love my jumps.
No, I agree with you. Petit Allegro is so fun, especially like when you add beats. It just makes it so much more fun.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah, going back on Bournonville, you yourself have said you really enjoy it, right?
Yes, I do. It's definitely my favorite, and that might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion amongst the dancers nowadays. I know a lot of people see Bournonville and they'll kind of groan, because I mean it can be very grueling and very difficult, and sometimes kind of dull, because you see a Bournonville men's variation, and they're not very trick heavy. And it's just like, 1,000 jetés, and there's like no pattern, and it's super complicated and really hard for no reason. But it's kind of my favorite era of ballet, and it's my favorite ballet to do.
Nice. Yeah, I wouldn't say I love Bournonville, but after doing Napoli, I've definitely grown an appreciation and respect for it. And it's also made my Petit Allegro a lot better.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Do you have like a favorite dancer you look up to?
Favorite dancer I look up to. Well, if I had to go for like famous dancers, like my favorite famous dancer to look up on, kind of a basic answer, maybe, but Daniel Simpkin. I feel like he's kind of my favorite as far as like famous dancers go. I feel like he's the epitome of like the perfect male dancer.
Right, yeah.
But when it comes to like dancers I look up to, I'd have to say just any sort of like any of the company guys who have just been friendly with me in the past, not just at Ballet West, but like any of the company guys who've gone out of their way to talk to me and be friends with me and really, keep it real and explain to me how things are in the professional dance world and offer their insight. So those guys are the best.
Yeah. That is such a good answer. But it's like it's just nice when you have that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they don't have to do that. Coming to Ballet West as a PTD, I made friends with like some of the second company dudes, and even some of the company dudes, and I learned a lot about the professional ballet world, and they didn't have to talk to little 15-year-old PTD me, but they did, and yeah.
No, yeah, I think that really makes a big difference on young dancers is like
It does.
if you just go out of your way to talk to them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it really does.
Yeah, like it keeps you going.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question. What is your favorite rep that you've ever done? And I can split this into two. I can do like classical rep and non-classical, or you can just go with one answer.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I think I'm going to have to go with classical because I haven't done too much on classical rep, but I do have an answer for that too. So for classical, you're never going to guess. I'd have to say Napoli. I'd have to say Napoli. This past month, doing Napoli, I did pas de six. I did the second pas de six men's variation, which is just brutal. That whole Napoli Act 3 stuff is it's just grueling, for everyone involved. The whole pas de six section, there's like the adagio section, partnering bits, and then right in the middle of it, there's the 3 men's variations. And I did the second one with just those grand pliés, entraînant. Those are just right at the end of your variation too. It's like, but no, definitely my favorite rep with Ballet West that I've ever done. It was a really cool performance opportunity, and it was a good cast, and it was fun. I love Monaco.
Yeah, no, the double entrechat into the grand plie into an assemblée, that is the single reason why I'm afraid to touch that one.
It's brutal too. Like I was really hoping I got a variation to do it in Napoli. I was really hoping I got one of the variations, but I was like, I really want one of the variations, but please, not the second one. Don't want to do the grand, please. And of course, they chose me, the guy with no turnout. And I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to drill those grand pliés. They're gonna have to look good because I just go into those grand pliés, my knees just go forward. But yep, it was all right. It looked all right. I saw the footage. Wasn't the best. Wasn't the worst. I'm happy with it.
Yeah, on the Academy's Instagram, I saw they did a live stream where they had the 3 of you guys do your variations, and you looked hella good.
That live stream was tragic. we had like a long day, and we had done technique and men's class with Jeff, which is always brutal because then it's just like 3 hours of Jeff tech, which is fantastic, but it just takes the life out of you. And then they were like, okay, guys, you're going to run your variations for Instagram. So, yeah, no, that was not my best run of it. I'll say that.
No, that's okay. It still looked hella good. Okay, so did you just do like Act 3 of Napoli, or did you do the whole full-length Napoli?
We did not do the whole full-length Napoli. We did the rest of the Academy did some like excerpts of Napoli, and then the PTDs did Act 3 of Napoli.
Oh, okay. Did you also get to do the Tarantella?
Yes, we did.
Nice.
Which is that's just a fun dance. Like
It's
that
so
is just
fun.
that is fun. And it's fun because just all the different like couples break away from the main group and have their own little dance, and
Hmm.
they're all just funny, like the scarf dance.
Yeah, that's the one I did.
Yeah, I did that one for the cast that I didn't do Patasis. I did the scarf dance.
Nice.
That one was fun.
Just gonna know hold those tambourines and like friggin' bang them all the time.
Yeah,
It's so
we
fun.
actually we didn't get the clap sheet, like the clapping timing, until like a week before the show. So there was there were some mistakes with the clapping, but they muted it for the recording, so
You're kidding me.
we don't talk about it. We don't talk about the clap strike during Hello.
Oh gosh. All right. Okay, and then you said you had an answer for the non-classical rep.
Yeah, there was. I definitely have not done a lot of contemporary or modern. Um, as far as my training goes, it's definitely been very classical. And Ballet West, the PTD program is very classical, and there's not a whole ton of contemporary. That's kind of changing, and they've gotten more.
Mhm.
But we got to do in last year for the contemporary showcase. We got to do this piece called Stitching, which this choreographer had come in. I forget his last name. His first name is Francisco, and his last name starts with a G, and I do not remember it, nor do I know how to pronounce it. But he came in the prior year and set it on the trainees, and it was this super cool contemporary ballet. And then the PTDs got to do it the next year for the contemporary showcase, and that was just a blast. That was super fun. Very definitely still very balletic as far as contemporary ballet goes. Like it's the kind of contemporary ballet where you're like, this is mostly ballet, but it was super fun and really cool choreography, and I got to do a little solo in that one too, and super fun.
Nice. Have you ever had like a favorite moment on stage or in a rehearsal setting?
Or in a rehearsal setting.
Yeah.
There's been a couple times in like rehearsals where you like really nail that variation and everyone claps, and that always feels good.
Oh yeah.
But as far as like on stage moments, I'm probably gonna have to go with Napoli again. Last that was just great, and that cast A, just everything worked out so well, and it was just a really solid performance, and just doing that Patasis and just finishing that solo was great.
Yeah, I bet. All right, do you have like a most embarrassing dance story?
Gosh, I know I'm gonna be like going to bed tonight, and I'm gonna be thinking, and I'm gonna remember a really bad one. But let me think. So Nutcracker, last Nutcracker season, I was doing Butler. I did Mouse and Butler, and Butler's a lot of standing around, and you got the powdered wig on too.
Oh,
they're really painful wigs, but anyway, a lot of standing around, a lot of waiting, a lot of like leading people on and off. Anyway, first, I think it was opening night. Anyway, there's this part where the butlers have to. It's Act 2, and it's the beginning of the diverts. And I want to say it was like not the beginning of the diverts. I don't know. I forget the details, but where you like lead some people on, you're just standing on the side as like Russian happens or something. Anyway, so you're supposed to lead these women in these big dresses with these staffs. You're supposed to lead them on stage, and then you stand on the side and do nothing. But, it looks good on stage. Anyway, so you're all supposed to come out, all 4 butlers at once. I did not. So I came out 4 counts late, and it just looked really bad. And I forgot that we were supposed to come out as like, I think it was Merlaton bowed, and it was luckily I think it's kind of hard to tell who's who with the wigs on. So I was grateful for that concealment of my identity in that embarrassing moment.
Okay,
But
so you
yeah,
didn't get
it
the
was.
scolding for it?
I did not. I did not.
Nice.
But yeah, no. Luckily, yeah. But still, I walked off stage and I was like, come on, messed up the easiest part. It's literally walking on stage. But yeah,
It's okay. I'm sure like only one or two people from the audience might remember that. Who knows?
yeah, yeah. No one remembers the Butlers anyway.
Okay. If you had to pick to do a paw/duet, group dance, or solo, which would you likely most go with?
Duet for sure. I
Duet?
feel like um, a lot of the most interesting rep is in duets or small groups. Solos are obviously super cool. It's great when you get to do a solo on stage, but generally speaking, they're short and they're simple.
Mm-hmm.
That's not always the case, I'm really
Right.
generalizing here, but I feel like a lot of the coolest rep is when you get to do um, a duet or a pas with somebody, and you've got that connection with somebody on stage, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I think it can look really cool. I think it's sort of the best of both worlds with like core work and um, sort of soloing on stage. You still get to be that lead individual on stage, but you're dancing
Mm-hmm.
with somebody, and it's really in sync and it looks cool. And yeah,
100%,
so
yeah.
I would have to definitely go with like a duet or a pas.
Yeah. So obviously you must be like a big fan of doing paw or like partnering classes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Partnering's so fun. Okay.
we get a good amount of partnering at Valley West,
Yeah, that's good.
and the pod training is really good.
Nice. Have you ever had like a serious injury that has prevented you from dancing a long period of time?
Not a serious injury where I was out for a massive amount of time. The only thing that I can really think of is um, I back in, I guess, the beginning of 2020, great year. The beginning of 2020, my ankle really started hurting, and I was like, oh no. Um, and it turns out it was a osteogonum, which is that little extra bone in your ankle,
Mm-hmm.
which is super common. I think it's something like half of the world's population has it. It just really affects dancers because we
Right,
do
yeah.
stupid things like point our feet and the human body really shouldn't do. But I've never had it taken out. I just did a lot of strengthening and PT exercises. So that took me out for it didn't completely take me out, but I couldn't jump for a while.
Okay.
And I was sort of out for a little bit, but I recovered, and I never had surgery to take it out, even though it's a pretty simple surgery. I might have to in the future, but that ankle is now strong enough where it's fine. It's not really noticeable. So but it was a really, really long, over the course of 3 years, it was sort of like um, a process to get that ankle back to normal.
Okay, gotcha. And is it something you might ever have to worry about like in the future, long term?
It very well could be.
Yeah.
Because of that, I'm real careful about my ankles, and I do a lot of strengthening stuff, which is thankfully prevented me from having any issues with that. But it's a really common thing, and luckily, it's a really easy surgery if I ever have to take it out. They just go in there and they take off that little tiny piece of bone that rubs against your tendons in a annoying way, and if all goes according to plan, you're back at it in like 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, if I ever do
Nice.
have to worry about it, it shouldn't be the end of the world. So yeah.
Nice. Okay. What does a daily schedule as a PTD at Ballet West look like for you?
Daily schedule is usually starts in the afternoon, so you have class at 1:30. That's when the classes start, which is kind of an odd chunk of time. It's not in the morning, it's not in the evening, but it is nice because you kind of have the mornings free.
Mm-hmm.
So you have class. The schedules have definitely it's been different like minorly different every year. This is sort of the standard. It goes from 130 to 315. And then for your second class, it can be any variety of things, often like men's class or contemporary or some sort of rep. And then your third class could be, again, any number of things from rep to conditioning to contemporary to flamenco. And then that's like the set classes. You really only get like 3. But depending on what's going on, if there's performances or shows that you have to be in, then they'll call you later and you'll just have more rehearsal.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. It's a pretty good schedule. I like it.
Yeah, okay. Have you like faced burnout at all recently?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Especially last year.
Last year? Gotcha.
Absolutely. I feel like most people have at some point, right?
Yeah.
And it's something that dancers have to deal with. But yeah, no, I absolutely faced burnout last year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something at a certain point I really had to question. I was like, do I still want to do ballet? But yeah, it's, and then sometimes, you're just getting really burned out and something like a winter break comes along and you just take a week off and you just come back and you feel rejuvenated, and, you just take some time to sort of heal your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then sometimes you just get that like little bit of motivation, so maybe you go to a show, you see an amazing ballet performance and you're like, I'm really motivated to do ballet now. I want to be like that, So I feel like it can be a lot of things that sort of drag you out of burnout.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we're going to get into some somewhat deeper questions.
Sure.
In your opinion, what are the most important qualities a dancer needs to progress in their training or career?
I think the number one most important thing is, and this is a broad term that can encompass a lot of things, but discipline.
Yeah.
I think it's discipline, and I'm totally stealing this from Jeff too. Like Jeff says this a lot, but there's a big difference between motivation and discipline. And I think just being disciplined is the number one most important thing. You can be super talented and super smart. Obviously being smart is and intelligent and being able to make those critical decisions is important in the dance world too. You can't, a dumb dancer is hard to work with, but even, if they don't bring their 100% every day, they're hard to work with. Would you rather hire someone with amazing facility that's inconsistent or someone with a little bit less facility that really gives it their all every day and they can really rely on? So yeah. I'd have to, it's discipline that, gets you through those hard days. And when you're burned out and, when you're having a bad class and you're tired, it's discipline that you do those same tendus over and over at bar. You do exam class for the 40th time, you do the same class. It's discipline that gets you through.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know I talked to you about this in the summer, but like if I had met you sooner, I think I genuinely would have taken a year or two to be a PTD at Ballet West.
I think that a lot of the guys that have come through the PTD program have really, I think everyone appreciates the training.
Yeah.
Jeff. I don't think I've met a single person that was like, well, I really didn't like Jeff's training. I don't think it was useful. No, everyone is really, and Jeff has just trained some really incredible people. He's got people in companies all over the world.
Right. Yeah.
He's got multiple people in the Ballet West company. Obviously, like lots of people that have decided to go to college, go to university, get big scholarships. For God's sakes, he trained James Whiteside.
Yeah.
He trained the Nathan Chen, the
Yeah.
figure skater. So Jeff has got some big names.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the reason why I also would never go to Ballet West is because I'm like freaking 5'5 3/4", which doesn't
Right.
matter much in the PTD program, but like just long term.
Long term, it definitely does. Like, I mean, I am 5'10". I officially I'm 5'10". I'm not 5'10". I'm like 5'9 1/4", 5'9 1/2". But no, like I am really short by Ballet West standards.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't even like.
Yeah, no, but I think if you're smart and you come to the Ballet West program, it's you don't often have to come to the men's program with like delusions about getting principal at Ballet West. Jeff's training is Jeff's training,
Yeah.
And I came here and I never really had any delusions about like moving up at Ballet West. I'm just not what they'd be looking for, which, yeah, like, you look at the company and all of those guys, a 6-foot guy in the Ballet West company is on the shorter side.
Yeah.
6'1" is on the shorter side.
Yeah.
These guys are massive. The women too, like they are tall.
Yeah.
And the guys in the Ballet West company, like they're not even. It's not even just like a tall lanky dude. They're big, proportional. You look at them on stage and like that's a normal sized guy. No, they're huge.
Yeah.
And mostly same with the training program too. There are some shorter guys in the training program, but I think the shortest guy in the training program this year is 5'11".
Jeez. Yeah, speaking on height in ballet, I mean, you're a lot taller than I am, but like still, even in the ballet world, your height would be considered like maybe average.
Mm-hmm.
Still short in
it's
most or some or most places.
Yeah, it's interesting that a lot of companies have sort of gravitated towards taller men.
Yeah. Do you like
Because,
do you like have negative feelings, or do you just look at the ballet world negatively and like have anger for that reason, or
not for that reason. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of weird that a lot of companies I don't fully understand the logic behind that. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it definitely makes sense to have a cohesive company and definitely like have a look. I understand that having a core, like a corps de ballet with a lot of varying heights would not be desirable on stage, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Different ballets have different looks and different preferences, and that's just something you have to deal with.
Hmm.
But historically, not all the guys were tall. You look at Baryshnikov,
I know, right?
5'6", 5'7".
Yeah.
So, and I really don't think that being tall physically gives you any advantage in ballet. If anything, like us short guys kind of have an advantage,
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, we've got less to move. We
Exactly.
we can go faster sometimes. I'm not saying that the tall guys are slow. It's just when you think about it, we got to eat less.
Yeah.
We don't have to fuel 6 foot 5 inches of height.
Yeah, exactly.
Move faster, turn better sometimes. I feel like a lot of short guys are really good turners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, very, very mature way of looking at that. How do you handle corrections and criticism?
I think they're very necessary and an integral part of this world. It's not, a compliment is not as valuable as a correction, in my opinion. wow, that was good. Great. What do I do with that information? But,
Right.
corrections and criticism is how you grow and how you get, really just how you get better.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and like, do you critique yourself often, or
Absolutely.
yeah,
I mean, I think most people in this industry do.
yeah,
It's a competition with yourself, and you're in tight fitting clothing in front of a mirror for
hmm
multiple hours every day. Not a lot of people do that.
right,
And it's very easy. I mean, I might even go as far as to say it's necessary to be hard on yourself, but it's really easy to be just brutal
hmm
on yourself.
yeah,
And you got to be careful. You know, that's not
yeah,
always. You're only human. It's
that's true.
it's not necessarily always um, super. And I struggle with this, but it's not always super beneficial to just be super hard on yourself all the time.
hmm
Sometimes you gotta acknowledge when you do something good.
Yeah, for sure. Um, would you consider yourself like competitive in dance?
I think so,
Yeah.
but I think so. It's a naturally very competitive industry, art
hmm
form, sport, whatever you want to call it. You're training from a young age, and you're competing for limited spots in a company based on your physical ability. So it's going to be competitive any way you look at it. You really can't get around that. You're auditioning, and you
Yeah.
have to maintain good physical shape, and so it's going to be competitive any way you look at it. There's really no way of getting around that. But I think more than anything, I'm competitive with myself.
Right.
You're
Yeah.
always trying to do better than what you did last time.
Do you ever find opportunities in class to like be competitive with the other dudes, like, turn more, jump higher,
Oh,
faster?
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think Ballet West. Um, there's a really good culture, especially in the men's program. So it's not like you go into class and the guys are beefing with each other and trying to do a bigger double cabriole. There's gonna be friendly competitions, but I really haven't experienced like you know any sort of ballet nemesis where you're trying to do
Right.
better than the other person. But I think friendly competition is just great.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I think that's like one of the best parts about being a dude in this art form is just like you meet so many chill dudes and like you never feel competitive
Exactly.
with one another. There's never any
Right.
beef really.
There really isn't, and I know it can be like a lot different for the women because
Yeah.
it's just naturally a lot more competitive for them,
hmm
which is a shame because sometimes it can be a little bit less chill. Um,
Yeah.
it can be a little bit less chill, but for the guys generally, like it's just yeah, you are competing with these dudes for spots, but everyone's pretty friendly with one another, and you're just there there for class.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How much do you still enjoy dancing and how much does it feel like work or just kind of,
Oh, this is that. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. It's I don't know. I feel like I never, from when I started dancing until now, I never really felt like I was just going into ballet where I was like, wow, I love this. I have to do this. You know what I mean? I never had
yeah,
like to say I don't have like a passion for ballet. That sounds bad. But I think again, going back to dedication, I think it's dedication.
yeah,
There are those times when you're like really motivated and you see someone really incredible on stage and you're like, I love this art form. Ballet is awesome. But for the majority of time, you don't feel like that. You're in class working hard
yeah.
and you don't feel that joy for ballet 90% of the time. I'd go, you know what I mean? I think,
hmm
I think you don't feel that love for ballet. most of the
No,
time.
definitely
Most of the
not.
time, it's dedication to an art form to get
Yeah,
better.
yeah. That's a really good answer. Um,
But I think, but also sometimes you hate it, and there's
oh yeah,
kind
for
of no
sure.
getting around that. You know, sometimes you're just like, this is brutal. Why am I doing this? This, you know, why am I showing up every day and doing this physically demanding thing that just makes me hurt? And I know I'm going to be, you know, if I do make it pro, I'm not going to be paid that much, at least
Hmm.
for most of my career.
Right.
You know, this isn't for fame and glory. Why am I doing this? But again, dedication, you know.
Yeah. Um, how scared of you? What what did I just say? How scared are you of not making it into the professional world of dance?
Pretty scared, I'd
Yeah.
say. Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think a lot of people at this stage are, um, you know, I'm literally right now in the midst of auditioning for companies. Like
Hmm.
tomorrow at 3, I get on a plane for Nashville to Nashville for my final audition, and I should know after that class whether or not Nashville Ballet wants to offer me a second company contract or not. Um, you know, it's a scary time because all of your years of training are either paying off or not.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, this is like the time. Obviously, it's going to continue to be tough once you pass that point. I've talked to people; they confirm that. But this is kind of the point where you make or break.
Yeah. For sure.
So yeah, I think I I'm very stressed to know if I'm gonna make it or not.
Hmm.
Because for me, at least, you know, that would be that would be difficult to face. You know, I've been training for a long time and really hard, and I've put years of my life to do this, and yeah, I want to make it pro. You know.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Nashville is well. Nick is going to become artistic director for next
Hmm.
season, and then they're getting a new second company director.
Yeah.
Is Nick going to be looking at you, or is the new second company director going to be looking at you?
I honestly don't know.
I
It could
don't
be
know.
both. It could be all of the faculty. It could be someone different. I
Mhm.
genuinely don't know. I did the first audition, and they were like, "Cool, send in a video." Sent in a video. They said they liked what they saw, and so then they invited me out to take a class, which is promising. This is like the final stage
Yeah.
of auditioning for Nashville. So if I like the company. I've spent the last 2 summers there, and
Mhm.
it'd be cool if I got to dance with Nashville.
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Best of luck to you on that.
Oh, thank you.
Um, uh, when I did the same thing last year, I did the NSIA audition,
Hmm.
and they were like, "Hey, we like the way you danced for us. You should come out here and take a class." And it was
Hmm.
supposed to be a trainee second company class,
Hmm.
but when I got there, they put me in a room with PTD twos. I was really
Hmm.
confused.
Yeah.
And I didn't find out till after that it was a PTD class. So I feel like I kind of got screwed over. And I'm not going to blame anyone for that,
Right.
but
Right.
who knows? Maybe I would have been a trainee or an NB2 at Nashville this year if that didn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to be
That's
a PTD at Nashville before
hmm
Sacramento took
yeah.
me in.
But now you're at Sacramento, and yeah,
No,
you're enjoying it, right? As or so I've heard. It's pretty good.
yeah, yeah. I mean, audition season is stressful at the moment, but I'm
Right.
enjoying it for the
Oh
most part.
gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
good.
Yeah, moving on. Or, well, actually, what would you do if you didn't dance or you decided dance wasn't for you anymore?
That is a great question. You know, you'd think that I'd have a little bit more of a plan B,
I
but
definitely don't.
I really don't. I feel like a lot of people don't.
Mm.
It's just like all or nothing with ballet.
Right.
But I genuinely don't know. I often think about, like, what if I got hit by a bus tomorrow and I lost my legs? What would I do? I think about that a lot. I don't know. I maybe something in the aviation industry.
Hmm.
Big into aviation. I've always wanted to get my pilot's license.
Uh,
I might start there,
nice.
getting my pilot's license, and go from there. But
Okay.
it's on the bucket list.
Nice.
So yeah, who knows? Probably get a degree. That'd probably be a good start too.
Yeah.
If I found out that I couldn't dance ever again tomorrow, I'd probably pursue getting a degree.
Yeah. That's a valid answer.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Has there been like one event or moment in your lifetime that really resonates with you or like keeps you going, especially in your dance life?
Especially in dance. I don't know. There was never like a really big moment that made me decide that I wanted to do this seriously.
Mhm.
It was definitely more gradual, but I
Yeah.
can think of at least one. It was my first year at PTD, like first few weeks as PTD in Ballet West, and yeah, I was 15, and in the Ballet West class, and that class that year was pretty insane. There were some guys, like some senior PTDs, that were pretty incredible. A lot of those guys are second company or company now.
Oh, nice.
And there's this one guy. His name is Jonas. Super nice guy. And Jonas, I think at the time was 17, and I have actually never seen somebody at 17 dance so incredibly. Jeff trained all through his childhood, which is why. I remember standing at bar and watching this dude at bar because I was stupid and had no clue what was going on with the combinations. So I was watching Jonas, as one does, and he was just doing the most perfect tendus. I just saw them and I was like, these are the most perfect tendus. I have to have tendus like this, and that just like really motivated me for the next couple years. Honestly, even now, I still think about it, and I was like, I have to get tendus like that, and I just trained my bar excessively, and yeah, just really motivated me to like work on my technique and really train with Jeff hard and take his corrections to heart.
Nice. That's a really good story.
Yeah. So shout out to Jonas. Love that
um,
guy. Still an amazing dancer.
yeah, is he a company member now, or is he still in the second company?
He's second company.
Oh, okay.
I can't imagine that they won't offer him a contract.
Yeah. Do you have regrets is a strong word, but do you have any regrets looking back in your dance life?
Yeah, sure. I wish I had been serious about stretching sooner.
Yeah.
Because I am not a particularly flexible person, even as far as male ballet standards go. I think I have really inflexible hips, which is partly due to just how I'm built. But
Mhm.
if I had, started stretching seriously when I had started ballet at, 11, 12, I think I'd definitely be in a better spot flexibility wise now. So I wish I had started taking that seriously sooner, because I only really started taking my flexibility serious like 2 years ago. Which, yeah, I wish I could have done that sooner.
Gotcha.
So that's one where if I could go back and change something, that'd definitely be it.
Mm. Last serious question. If you could give yourself or younger self or any like young dancers trying to make it, what advice would you give?
Stretch. No. But seriously, well, yes, stretch. And you know, start working out sooner. All that cross training stuff is really good. Is really good for you. But aside from that, very straightforward physical stuff. Just ballet isn't the end all be all. Dance isn't the end all be all. Even if you want to take it seriously, there's more to life than just dance.
For sure.
And you got to enjoy the other stuff. You can't let ballet or whatever you're doing just dictate your life. So, yeah, your happiness and your mood doesn't have to depend on how well you did in class.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important thing to remember.
Yeah, I definitely need to remind myself of that more often.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the last serious question. One thing, you are super big into working out. Like I remember first week of Nashville, you were just like constantly working out.
Yeah.
Like why do you work out? It's so hard for me to motivate myself to work out. I'll do it, but I never enjoy it.
Yeah, I started lifting. Well, I started doing like light workouts at home when I was like 15 because I wanted to just get stronger. Well, I did that because there was Jeff has a conditioning class. It's like really brutal. It's like 300 push-ups or something.
I've heard.
Yeah, no, it's brutal. But anyway, I did that for the first time at the Ballet West Summer Intensive, and I sucked at it. So I want to get stronger at this. But then about 2 years ago, I started lifting. Actually, Jeff took me to the gym and showed me some, a lot of like his workouts, which I still do to this day. They are Jeff's workouts that I do. But yeah, I started lifting, and it's sort of become, I don't know, not a hobby, but it's definitely not motivated by dance, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
It obviously, it really helps ballet.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as much as you'd think, being
right.
bulky and muscular isn't really necessarily a goal in ballet. It helps with partnering and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely not motivated by dance. And if I quit tomorrow, I'd still be working out. And it's, it's definitely sort of like therapy sometimes too. You like go to the gym, just, but yeah, it's really been something that like I've struggled with over the last year or two. Is like, I always look in the mirror and see that skinny 14-year-old, with no muscle and twig legs. And yeah, so I've just continued to lift, and sometimes it's hard. And yeah, I need to sometimes remind myself that I don't need to look like a bodybuilder.
Right.
But no, I really do enjoy lifting and going to the gym. Not all the time. It's hard. It's hard doing that like every day, but it's it's something I like to pursue.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, well, that just about wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having me on.
You have been a really good guest, and you're like one of the most humble dudes I've ever met.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah, no, this has been awesome. This is awesome. This is such a cool like project you have going on with interviewing people. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah. Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the episode, like we just have such a genuine friendship that
Absolutely.
Like it's super rare for me to have. So I appreciate you being in my life. And I feel like meeting you in the summer was like a good time.
Oh my gosh. That was last summer was like one of the best summers of my life.
For sure.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And yeah. Well, anyway, dude, thank you so much for having me on. This was awesome.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. And again, best of luck to you on your audition for Nashville.
Thank you. Same to you.
Thank you.
Auditions are stressful.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching.